Hello and welcome to this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV Show and podcast. I'm your host, Christine Innes, and I'm super delighted to have the beautiful Glenis joining me today. Thank you so much for being here, lovely.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
Oh, I'm so excited. And I want to say a big congratulations. You were also in our February issue of the Corporate Escapists magazine. So I'm going to put the links below, people, that you can go and check out and read more of your story as well. So it is just really wonderful. And I can't wait for us to chat more as well, because I just know that there's so much goodness that's going to come out of it. But do you want to just start off and just sort of share everyone, because I love what you're doing. So do you want to share with everybody what you do? Because I think we're going to get so much, as I said, goodness out of this interview for people.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Christine. Yeah, look, what do I do? It's really interesting, isn't it? Well, what I do is I help businesses grow, really, when it comes down to it. And, whether it is a business that's kicking off or whether it's actually coaches already, people who are in business coaching, and they recognize that for them to get themselves some leverage and to get some automation happening with their own lead generation, then I actually help them grow their business and mentor them for, generating leads, converting to high paying clients, and then also getting results for their clients. One of my biggest passions in the world is reducing the business failure rate. So where did that come from? That's my purpose, right? And that came from being a chartered accountant in my own practice in Brisbane for 15 years. And after the first 5 years, I started to see a pattern, and that pattern was business owners were coming in and they were just coming for that year-end advice. They didn't have the money to spend on quarterly advices or, even having a look at growing their business. And they thought that maybe a 5% growth every year was amazing, but they were still struggling with cash flow. And then struggling with cash flow leads to problems in marriages, relationships, friendships, those sorts of things. And so, one of the things that I'm really passionate about is ensuring that the people who get into business, for themselves, they're courageous. I take my hat off to anyone who actually has a business, because you're so courageous, right? And what they want is they want more time to do the things in life that they actually want to do. That's why they leave their job and they want to do the things they're passionate about and to do that. But they get into a business and they're great at their craft. But when it actually comes to making profits in a business, it's something separate. And so I gave up my accounting practice. I sold it in 2012. I put a coaching business in behind that, 2008. And was coaching businesses to success. And when I say success, it's whatever success is for them. So, I just grow businesses, and it's a mixture of mindset, it's a mixture of lead generation, and it's a mixture of knowing your numbers. So when you put those three components together in any business, it's potent. And I suppose that's what I do now. So I do coach businesses, and anyone who's really wanting to sort of kickstart and move it, and it doesn't matter whereabouts you are on the journey. You could be starting, or you could be 18 months in going, you know what, this isn't what I really thought it was going to be. Do I have to go back to work for someone again? I know, I've been there before, right? And so, or it could be just one, you've hit a business plateau. Or it could be you're sitting there in your job like I was, back in 1993 going, you know what, I actually want to have a business of my own. I want to call my own shots. I want to look after my kids when they're sick from home. I want to do all of that. And that's what kickstarted me into actually going and doing an accounting degree. So I just extended my bookkeeping into accounting, and from an accounting, it just grew into a practice, and then it grew into coaching. And now I'm coaching coaches. So in a nutshell, there's a whole mixture of mindset, financial, numbers, and lead generation. Because if you don't have the leads coming in, you don't get the sales, don't get the profit. So, yeah. That was a long-winded elevator pitch, but sometimes you really need to know what the background is. Yeah.
And one thing that we've had a couple of conversations together, and one thing what I really do love what you're doing is the fact that it's not just one thing in business. Like, there is multiple levels, and it is going to be based on different people as well, because, you know, as you would remember, like if you're working for somebody else, you then have this sort of support team sitting behind you.
Mm.
And you forget about that when you go and start your own business, because you are now the accountant, you are the marketing person, you are the person that has to be your own coach and give yourself the pep talk in the morning when you're going, oh my
Yeah.
God, what am I doing? How am I going to do all of this? So, you know, all those three components that you said are the most essential things that you need, you know, when you are starting a business. Because for me, I always say that mindset is 80% of your business,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
sets you up for success. But knowing your numbers, and it was only something that I guess for me 12 months ago that I literally gone, oh, okay, well, what's that costing me? It's not a hobby anymore, Christine. Like, you're turning this into a real business, like, and you have to know it. And numbers are not my thing, and they make me very uncomfortable. So as I said, like, I really do think that what you're doing is so essential for anybody wanting to start a business or even kickstart it to going further, you know, to take it off to the next level.
Yeah, thank you. And, you know, like it came in, the order was more the numbers, right? You know, knowing your numbers and then really understanding what's creating your profits and things like that. But then the mindset's got to kick in after that, because like you said, if you don't, you know, give yourself a bit of a pep talk, or you go listen to something else on YouTube that's going to give you the pep talk, right? Then it's very easy to listen to those voices in your head. And we all have them, like, let's face it. You know, everyone's there to, you know, those voices want to not have you succeed. So, you know, actually having someone look at you for who you are and not have your voices in their head, because they see you as the person that what you want, you know, in your 5-10 year goal. That's all I see my clients as being. So when they come and give me excuses and drama and stuff like that, it's like, really? Okay, what happened to this? All right. So mindset's got to come in second. And then the last thing, which is what I identified back in 2015, was marketing. See, marketing was my weak point. You know, if I was referred a client, referrals are great, by the way, you know, they cost nothing. And, you know, you just can go along and speak to people and you'll get referrals, right? But you can't wake up every Monday morning with literally 10 or so appointments in your diary for the next week or two. Okay, I do that regularly. All right, I run some marketing, and then it gives me leads that, you know, will turn into business. And so, but I wasn't like that back in 2015, which is only like 6 years ago. I was a hopeless marketer, right? I couldn't even think up a good headline. I was so in my head, you know, the accountant brain, engineer brain, architect, all of those, you know, clogs were kicking over. And I was thinking, I wasn't actually out there over with who my ideal target market is, what the demographic of that was, and also what their biggest problem was. So I couldn't even message any of that down on paper. And then I came across this platform. So I was actually had all this IP in my head, and I was going to create a big online platform that I could utilize as my own university to give out to my clients and that. But I got a quote, and, you know, it was over 200K to get that done back into, you know, 2015. I thought, that's ridiculous. We don't need to do that. But I found my partners who are now over in the States, over in Kansas City, and they have actually created like an online university, and it's like a Google for business, right? And so I've got my own academy that sits behind me that teaches business owners everything that I've learned. And what I did in that first year was I did the academy, I did the whole thing. And so now I've turned my marketing into a strength. So marketing has definitely got to be there. Now you can, you know, when you're starting a business, if you want to put marketing in first, that's fine, right? I always say, get the leads and let's work out the numbers after that. At least we can get the leads in the door, right? But for me, it came third. And my business has flourished because I don't have to sit and go, well, where's my next client coming from or whatever. And now I teach coaches how to do that. So I've created a whole back-end platform that I've got, plus, you know, the academy from overseas, and there's everything a business coach would ever want to actually give their clients. And so, you know, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So, you know, anyone who is out there in the corporate world who's got great business acumen, who's thinking, oh, I want a new career in business coaching, this definitely is something that just saves you so much time and money. And within 2 months, you are hitting the ground running. It depends on how fast you learn, you know.
Yeah.
But those 3 key elements for me is key. And, you know, everyone needs a coach.
Look, honestly, I have 3 coaches. So,
Yeah.
you know, and, you know, for me, I didn't really understand. I think when I first started out, like I've had a couple of different coaches along the way, but, you know, there is obviously, you know, different coaches out there. But I think when you can get somebody who has done it before, and, you know, one of the big things that I say, I've got a quote up there, which is, you know, always ask directions from somebody who has been down the same road, because there's so many people out there. And I think what you're saying is, like, we have our voices in our head, but I think also when you go into business, everybody around you will have their own opinion as well.
Absolutely.
And it's really important to sort of go, okay, well, who's had a business, who's actually done it, who has, you know, had the, you know, the courage, like you said, to go and start a business. Listen to those people. Somebody once told me is that you actually go and talk to a couple of different people. Talk to somebody who has actually failed in business, because they're actually going to tell you some really good hard truths, and you want to learn from that. And you also talk to people who have been successful in business as well, because they're going to tell you even more stuff as well. And I think that's a really good balance for people to get that good understanding of.
Absolutely. You know, Warren Buffett says, you know, success in business is all about saying no more often than what you're saying yes to. And that's also really key, is it really being completely direct and focused on what you want. And an exercise I do with my clients when I'm first, you know, we're starting off is, you know, I want you to write down where you want to be in 10 years time. You know, what's a day in the life of Christine in 10 years time? You know, who are you with? What are you doing? Those sorts of things. And then we can then pull out the values and everything that you really, really want to work towards. And everything else is superfluous.
Yeah.
Right. It's just that we've got so much information coming at us these days. We're in the information age, right? Yeah. And even this podcast and what we're doing here is more information for people. But hopefully it's entertaining enough that people are going to keep listening, right?
Yes, so, absolutely.
and you know, like we just want to, we get so much information. If we think, oh, I better look at that, I might miss out. But really, when it comes down to it, if the more direct and focused that you can be when you're first starting out in business, the less mistakes you make. And I've made many. That's why I've made heaps, absolutely heaps.
Oh yeah, right? Same. Life and business, trust me. Like, you know, but I always love it though, because I think, you know, one of the things is that, you know, when you do go into business for yourself and you have left corporate and you don't have that support team, you need to find people that are going to, I guess, be your tribe. Like, they're going to really, you know, help and support you. But one of the things that, you know, you just mentioned before about looking into the future, and I'm a really big believer, because, you know, that's literally how I got out of my situation 6 years ago. And I had to envision the person that I could see myself being there. And I think sometimes, you know, when you do that, and, you know, someone said to me the other day, you've got to picture yourself as the star in the movie. It's your movie. You're the star. Yeah. What do you want? You're not going to sit there and watch somebody sitting on the couch watching TV, are you? No, you're going to be wanting to watch somebody who is doing stuff and, you know, trying. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're climbing mountains every day, but you're out there and you're doing it and giving it a go. And
that's inspiring. And like literally 5% of people are like that. The other 95% really think about doing it, and they think far too much. But the ones who actually go, you know what, this is what I'm doing, and take one action, just one action, and then the next action, and then the next action, you know how it goes. But you know, the secret to, you know, changing something in your life is changing one thing in your daily routine. So wherever you are right now, for everyone that's listening, you know, it's really all about, well, what are you currently doing in your daily routine? How can you change that one little bit? Just one tweak will change an end result for you. And it's quite often any changes that you want to make is always in your daily routine. I know for me, I'm supposed to exercise more, and I don't. And that's why, you know, I'm not as fit as what I used to be, right?
Yeah.
And I know I have that voice in my head that keeps telling me, you said you were going to exercise today, Glenis, and you didn't, right? So I really look at that little quote I have up there and go, yep, my daily routine's got to change. When are you going to do that, Glenis? Right? Okay. So
Exactly.
yeah. And I think I was just talking about this to my husband the other day, and that was about, you know, when you have a coach that actually rocks up. I had a personal trainer, 2012, I wanted to lose 35 kilos and I did, right? And so I rang up a friend of mine and she said, I'm going to come to your accounting office at 11:45, 2 times a week, and then we're going to go upstairs to the gym and we're going to work out for an hour. I said, great. 10 to 12, she'd rock up. And what I just could not carry on and work. You know how you want to just carry on and work? Because she was there. She rocked up. And, you know, I did. She helped me. But, you know, I felt so much better. Middle of the day, stopped, got changed. It was a pain. All I wanted to do was finish that job on my desk, you know. But that was the change. And it was actually having that trainer there for me rock up. Because if that person wasn't there, then I wouldn't have done it. And that's a little bit like a coach as well. Yeah. It's like, if that coach is there for you to hold you accountable to what you want as your dream, you're going to achieve it. So, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that too, because I think the fact is that sometimes we do forget that, you look, we are human beings. And I keep saying to people that I remove the word perfection out of my vocabulary because it certainly does not exist. Because once you get to one level, you're constantly trying to get to another level.
Yeah.
But when you're striving to be the best that you possibly can be, sometimes you need other people to hold you accountable for it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make you flawed. It doesn't mean that you're less than anything else. It just means that you're investing in yourself and you value yourself so much. And you're going, you know what, I want to achieve this goal, and you can go through and actually do it. And like for me, you know, I have 3 coaches. I have a spiritual coach, I have a business mentor, I have a business coach as well. And, you know, like we really like, and I say, this is what I'm doing. This is where I want to get to. And, you know, we all work together just to go, okay, well, this is where you want to go. This is what you want to achieve. But I have to have that vision inside of my head, first of all, of what it looks like. So I think everything that you're saying there, like I can so relate. I'm like, oh my God, that's me. Like I have to visualize and I have to see where I'm going to be in 3-5 years. And
I think,
bringing those people in.
And I think you hit the nail on the head as far as you have to want it, right? So if you don't want it, coaching's hard work. It's a waste of money. I always say to people when they come on board with me, it's like, you know, you've got to really want this, because I'm going to hold you accountable to it in a nice way. I'm not going to, you know, I don't crack the whip. I'm not one of those people. But, you know, like I keep reminding you who you are for the world, because if we don't have people who are going to step up and actually follow their dreams, we're not going to leave any level of legacy for your children, your grandchildren, and all of that, you know. So that's what I say is that, you know, whatever you want, whatever your dream is, I'll work with you and we'll make it happen. And it just so happens that I've got the knowledge of the accounting behind me from a business point of view and the marketing, which is, you got to have the leads coming in before we can count the coffers, right? So I think marketing's got to come first.
Yes. And it is really, I love what you said, you know, what's a legacy? And I've spoken to so many people, and if I say to them, what is their legacy? Now, some people get overwhelmed by that. They're like, oh, well, I don't want to have my own business and that. And I said, you know what? Having a legacy could just be that, you know what, you want to be the best mum that you possibly could be. It could be that you want to be the best accountant. Like it's not about, you know, always having your own business. It's about being what the best that you possibly could be. And I love that so much.
Yeah. And everyone is different. And it's just like business, you know, like every business is different. The accounting firm in this suburb is different to this suburb, to this street, whatever, because they all have their own little unique thing that they offer. So I don't see anyone as being in competition. I have, you know, like I have over 200 coaches that I personally know, 17 I'm coaching around the world right now. And every single one of them is different. And I might get a lead in from someone who goes, you know, I think they'd be better off with Pierre rather than with John here, you know. So, you know, everyone is so different. So there's no competition. And I think we just keep forging along and becoming better people. And through that, we will actually have a better world to exist in.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you just a couple of quick questions with it, just to really help people that are sitting there right now and they're going, okay, I want to become a coach, but really not too sure where to go. Do you help them identify what type of different coaching that they should go into? Or is it just if they only want to go into business coaching?
No, I can do both. So, you know, if there's someone there that goes, you know, I definitely want to be a business coach, definitely, you know, we can work with you and we work out where your niches are. Because sometimes you can't just go out blindly and target everyone, right? We've got to pick a few different, what I call fishing holes, you know. But then on the other hand, if there's somebody who wants to go out and start a business in coaching and not sure if they want to be mindset, business, finance, whatever, absolutely, I can help them determine where they're best suited for that as well. So, and that would be, you know, helping them set that up in their business and get their messaging right and identifying who their ideal target market is and things like that. So there was two things in that. So
yeah, no, and I think it's really great too, because I know that a lot of people who are sitting there right now, when I would say a majority of the people that want to leave corporate want to go into some type of coaching. And I feel like coaching is going to be the next big thing that I know it's already quite big overseas, but especially here in Australia and, you know, some of the other countries that, you know, coaching is going to be so relevant with so many different people as well. So I think it's really good for them to know that they can come to you, find out which is going to be the best pathway, but then you can also help them obviously establish the business as well, which is great.
Yeah, look, coaching is the only profession I know that you get better as you age.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. Yes, so true.
So who's going to take on a 25-year-old coach? But you might take on a 60-year-old one. You know what I mean?
You know, in your 40s, so, I'm right here. Like, you know.
So I'm just saying, you know, like it's, you know, you want to retire and be a coach. You want to go and live on the Sunshine Coast and be a coach 3 days a week. You know, you want a bit of passive income coming in, that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's a really good career to get into. Yeah.
What has been, I guess, one of the bigger learning lessons that you've learned, obviously, going into business for yourself now?
Yeah, work-life balance. You know, we strive for it, don't we? And it's just, you know, I have become so good at time management and integrity to time, because without that, I couldn't achieve everything that I wanted to achieve. But in the beginning, it was, oh, how am I going to get that done? I heard you say that, you know, how are we going to get that done? Da, 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 right? And you're like on this treadmill, you know, like this. And it's not good for your soul. It's not good for you, because in business, you actually have to be calm and you have to know where you're focusing on and who you need to spend your time with to move the business forward. So, you know, you can't be on this treadmill all the time and working in your business. So one of the biggest things for me was stepping back and, you know, stepping back from a 5-day a week on the treadmill to 4 days a week on the treadmill, 1 day working on the business. And now I do that. I've got 3 and 2. So I have a 3 and 2. And so it was definitely work-life balance and really working out what's the most important to work on, because there's so much you can work on. You know, and taking one step at a time. Like, you can't build everything in 1 year and 1 day. And quite often we overestimate what we're going to achieve in 1 year and underestimate what we can achieve in 3 years. So I'm a big believer in 3. And so, you know, we do set like targets of 3 years, and we make sure like we've got all the foundations set in the first year so that we can build second year. And then it starts to go ballistic third year, you know. So, you know, being a results person for me, I, you know, wanted everything now. You probably know that feeling.
Yes,
too, right?
Very much so.
Okay, I'm going to do this. I want it now, you know. All right.
But, I'm very impatient, so I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, now, come on, hurry up.
Exactly. And I think there's probably a lot of people like in business out there like us, but it's really learning that business is a journey. Life's a journey. All right. And you got to have fun every day with it. And, you know, and you don't let other people pull you down, or there's a whole lot of stuff, right?
Exactly.
So, I just think definitely work-life balance, if you're going to get into business, you got to set yourself up so you do have time to do the things in life that you want to do, and you got to make the profits to do that too.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's like, it's a really interesting, because a lot of people go into business for themselves, right, to have a work-life balance, but they also forget the fact that you are it. Like, you are the accountant, you are the marketing person, you are like doing it all. So if you have that expectation of thinking that it's all going to just happen within 3 to 6 months and you're going to have the work-life balance, it's not. So I really do respect that you said that it is, let's do a 3-year sort of timeline, because that is more realistic. If it happens sooner, fantastic, but at least then we know the pathway and those steps that we need to do to be able to get us to where it's going to be, because it is a hard journey, a very hard journey.
Yeah.
And
it's a learning curve. Doesn't have to be hard, but it has to be consistent. So I think really consistency is key, and have some fun along the way. Gee, like, life is short, right?
Oh, I love that you said that. Yes,
so it is. You've got to have some fun, and so that little saying that I have, quite often we, overestimate what we do in 1 year, we can do in 1 year, and underestimate what's achievable in 3 years. Is so true.
Yeah, definitely. No, I love everything, as I said, I love everything that you do, and I think that it's so needed right now. I thank you so much for sharing your story in the February issue of the Corporate Escapists magazine, and being here today and sharing all of this insight and wisdom with everybody. I am going to pop the links below. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe to the channel so that you get the first access to all of our new episodes that are each week. You'll be able to reach out and get in contact with Glenis as well. And thank you, beautiful lady, for joining me today and being here with us.
You're welcome, and thank you, everyone. Don't forget to reach out, even if you got the smallest little question. More than happy to help out.
Yeah, put your comments below and we'll get in touch with you and answer them with you. So make sure you do that. But I'll definitely have the links where you can get in touch with Glenis. If you've got any questions here about the Corporate Escapists, please make sure you hit subscribe and make sure you comment below as well. And thank you everyone for tuning in for this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show and podcast. And remember to live life to the fullest every single day. Love and light to you all.